Hello everyone, welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney.
Guys,
I'm sorry.
How long have we been doing this?
Oh gosh,
it's been a long time. It's been like 7 years. I want to say 6 or 7 years or something like that.
Well, when did Blister Thumbs start, and when did we start the BT podcast?
Back in the old times.
Yes, in the before time.
Back when there was hope.
In the ruins of the old world.
Right.
Okay, I always do this in my head. All right, I made my old show in February of 2010, and I joined Channel Awesome / Blister Thumbs in 2011.
Yeah, since it's 2011 is when we started, because that's when.
Yeah. So,
right.
Yeah.
So
about 6 years.
I feel like it's kind of strange that we've been doing this for 6 years, and the best way that we've decided to start the show is by counting to 3 and all pressing a button at the same time.
Technology is cool.
I feel like there should be a better system but I guess,
we used to have Skype used to not be a butt, and we can just go in, and then we would it would start recording immediately. And everything was automated, and somehow in the future things are less automated, which is very strange. That's not how science fiction says the future works.
But go back and compare the audio quality of those episodes to now when we do it locally. It's night and day. We're way better.
Way better quality. But Leon, here's the thing about future science fiction is that there's the two branches of science fiction. One where it's like the Star Trek science fiction, where you just say something to a computer and it makes you feel better about your life.
A terrible security flaw, by the way.
And then there's the other science fiction, like the Firefly science fiction, where it's yes, humanity's reach has extended, but everything is generally super difficult. Star Trek is a world in which interface designers rule the world. Where they're like, oh, geez, wouldn't it be great if we could just get voice-activated technology to work and everything have, nice contoured lines and, multifunctional buttons and things like that? Because, you just take a look at a Star Trek panel, and, none of the buttons are labeled. They just have fucking, numbers on them and shit like that, and people are just like, I'm gonna press this button and it's gonna do exactly what I need it to do because... It's a contextual action, but then there's Dune science fiction where it's geez, do you want to travel to another planet? Okay, well here's what you're gonna have to do. I need you to get in contact with this monolithic organization that manages all space travel. So they're gonna need 3 copies of one application for you to go from this place to that place. And also you're gonna need to provide proof of your royal fucking heritage, because you can't just buy a ticket on a spaceship or any shit like that. It's no, you have to go to the navigation guild.
I find science fiction that not that I'm knocking it, because sometimes it's really good, but in terms of as a prophecy, science fiction where we figured out space travel to other planets, but literally everything else is just as shitty, to be it doesn't entirely add up for me, because I feel by the time we are able to colonize other planets, other pieces of technology will also be just significantly better. So we already have 3D printers. It's only a matter of time before they're better. So when I watch Firefly, and I did, although I haven't watched it since, and everything's we can travel to other planets, but also revolvers. I always think wait a minute, why didn't you fix everything at the same time? Did you all focus on the one thing, space travel, and everything else just went by the wayside?
So you say that, right? And I understand on the first pass why that makes sense, but then you think of the actual world, the one we live in, and it's hey, we can go to the moon, and we have missiles that can home in on aircraft flying past the speed of sound, and then you go some places and they don't have clean water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, but it seems in Firefly there is no we have all the clean water planet.
There is. It's the
like,
Chinese American syndicate. Yeah, they talk about it.
All right, I'll be perfectly honest. I watched the show once. I liked it, and then I never watched it again.
That's okay. This isn't like, I'm not stopping you on the street and being like, Leon, you've got to prove to me that you're a good nerd by showing me how many times you've watched Firefly.
Where's your brown coat?
If you guys remember, there's the huge battle in Mao's backstory that they lost, which was to like that kind of tyrannical government that's talked about but never seen.
Yeah.
So presumably, eventually, they would have gotten there, and we would have saw some of the not Wild West's parts of space.
No, there was the episode where they did the hospital heist on on the core world. Whatever they call it, and so it's like we got glimpses, right? And then in the movie, one of the major characters in the movie is obviously like this fixer dude for the government and shit like that. So it's like the I guess the point that I'm trying to get at is that the future isn't like nothing improves, uniformly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like we ostensibly we cured polio like decades ago. Guess what's gone? Polio.
Yeah.
Like it.
That's a fair point. But that isn't that that's less of a technological issue so much as a social problem.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what's reflected in good science fiction.
Technology and sociology intersect. Like there's a meeting point where it's like, a few years ago the United Nations declared access to the internet a human right. Think about that just for a second. Okay, access to the internet is a human right. Healthcare? Maybe not.
Yeah, I know.
Cat memes.
People like explosions and spaceships in their sci-fi, so that's normally what we see. But there is like an entire realm of, maybe not unexplored, but little explored, like questions about inequality in the space age, right? So you could imagine a series where it's all about the people who don't get to go to space.
Well,
right?
it was one of the things about the Maquis plot line in Star Trek that I really rather enjoyed, was that it was like, most of Star Trek that we see is from like the long arm of the law, so to speak. Not that like
the man.
Yeah. These people have all the resources, they have all the money, they got the crisp uniforms, the nice like ironed onesies.
Of what Star Trek I've seen, they keep flirting with the possibility of the Federation not being perfect, but never going there. And maybe there's a kind of Star Trek where they eventually tackle that, but it keeps being they're kind of fascist, right?
Yeah. It comes up in Deep Space Nine when they bring up an organization called Section 31, which is sort of like the Federation, like secret police, like the Stasi, basically. Mm-hmm. Who, basically they retcon the whole series, and they're like, yeah, so you don't know this, but Section 31 has been a thing for like the entire time the Federation's been around, and we do mean shit. Like they straight up just fuck with jazz festivals and things like that,
See, this is a pretty good transition, because one of the things I did this last week was see Star Trek Beyond, finally. It's okay. It's definitely better than Into Darkness, which I hate more with every passing day. I don't know if it's as good as the original J.J. Abrams film. My thoughts on it are kind of boring, because it's like an action movie where they fight and there's explosions and guns and stuff. But the thing that struck me about it is how they, like we said, kind of keep going like, what if the super police force of people with all the power and no accountability are maybe bad? Actually, it's the terrorists. The terrorists are bad. It's just like this kind of weird patch of self-awareness and consciousness of the kind of world we're in, where the people with all the guns get to make the decisions. And I mean, you guys have just confirmed that there are other parts of Star Trek that actually explore that idea, so that kind of puts my mind at ease. But do you guys have any strong thoughts on Beyond? It kind of just washed over me.
It was probably my favorite, I think, of the reboot films.
Mm-hmm.
Because it retained, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not that different. It doesn't distinguish itself notably from the first film, and at least tonally from the second film.
Yeah,
but
I mean, they win by playing Beastie Boys Sabotage, which
yes.
I both love and hate. Like, that's an incredible moment of bad cheese. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, I guess it depends what headspace you're in. I was kind of digging it, but there was also part of me that was like, that's not a good idea.
You didn't earn this.
I don't know how I felt about it.
But what I did like was that it managed to, like, one of the best things about Star Trek is confrontation of the unknown, where it's like you get presented with a situation that is inextricably foreign. So be that, like, in the TV show, a lot of the times it's encountering cultures that are, supposedly very different from human culture, but in the end, really, don't we just discover that deep down we're all kind of the same? But the first movie and the second movie didn't really fuck around with unknown quantities, with like mystery, with it being like, we're going to find lots of weird shit in space, and we're not going to know how to deal with it. The first and the second movie were both very much like, oh no, there's a bad guy, and he's got a really big gun. We have to stop him. But the third movie, Beyond, pardon me, not Into Darkness, Beyond there was a component of the movie where everybody was confronted with something that they weren't quite sure what it is. What was going on, who these people were, why they were doing what they did. Like, Leonard Nimoy didn't, like, stride out of the darkness and just be like, oh yeah, by the way, this guy's really bad. He's from the future and he wants to kill everybody. Like, there was a space mystery to it where it was like, oh man, our tech isn't working and we're down a leg here and we have no resources and we don't know what's going on, but let's fucking Star Trek the shit out of this.
But there's a weird tension because even though the first two movies set up the whole to boldly go thing, right? Like, the first one was like him getting into Starfleet. The second one is giving them a reason to go out and explore space. Mm-hmm. The third one starts with him being bored of it. Like, his arc is like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, there was no... like, they didn't actually establish the status quo before deciding to change it. Although, you could just argue that's the entire history of Star Trek is the status quo. So they were just kind of referencing the body of work that already exists. It's just kind of weird within its own canon. Mm-hmm. So there's a tension there. I don't know how I felt about that necessarily. And then, of course, Idris Elba, who I feel was fine, but you just gotta... give him some room to, like, do his thing, guys.
Yeah. That man fills the screen.
Yeah.
You have to preempt, like, you have to prepare to have Idris Elba on your movie, in your show. Like, yeah. You ought to know by now.
Last thing on Star Trek that I would say before we move off this is, in the scene where the, spoilers, spaceship is destroyed, which happens in, like, every other movie, all I could think was, because it's so lovingly rendered in, like, the world's best CGI, so I was watching it come apart and just thinking, like, fuck, that thing cost a quadrillion dollars. Just watch it. It was just like watching a zillion finillion dollars go
now,
up
are you
in
talking
fire.
in universe, or are you talking, like... how much they paid the special effects guy to...
No, I'm glad the special effects guy could feed his family. I'm saying it wraps back around to our original discussion, right?
Derek's a nice guy. And his kids are funny, so...
In a future where space travel is possible, right? It's so expensive. Like, those machines cost so much money. In our world, in Star Trek, they'd have to cost infinitely more. And I'm sure there are planets where the colonists are just, like, eating algae to survive, and Star Trek blows up a spaceship in every other movie. I know you're not supposed to think about it, but, like, people lose their gosh dang minds anytime, like, a protest causes a window to break or something. Can you imagine the protests when Star Trek blows up? Or I guess they wouldn't call it Star Trek. when the protagonists of a Star Trek film destroy a spaceship, they have, like Starfleet must deal with like angry letters every day.
But you know, they live in a currency-less future.
Do you think those kind of people are going to go away? We could institute universal basic income and social, like, single-payer healthcare tomorrow.
And there's still going to be that one irate, like, accountant?
That Grover Nyquist fuck.
Yeah.
will be so mad.
Oh my god, the Star Trek equivalent of Grover Nyquist. That has got to be, like, the worst conceivable person.
Absolutely. There's someone in the Star Trek universe who is fucking furious that everyone has access to medical care and food and stuff.
Oh my god. Oh, wow. Oh, geez, Austin, I think you just opened up the floodgates for possibly one of the best fanfics of all time.
Grover Nyquist in space.
The Grover Nyquist of space.
It's...
Okay, you guys keep saying Nyquist.
Whatever.
I know, but someone is gonna say you said it wrong. So I just want everyone to know. We know it's Norquist.
He's wrong every day of his life. We don't get to be wrong.
I don't care.
Yeah, but I have to read them.
Oh, Johnny, here's a fun game. Let's say a bunch of things wrong every episode, so Leon has to deal with the comments.
I love it. It sounds great.
Okay.
What's your favorite submarine movie, Austin? Das Boat?
I think A Hunt for the Blue October.
Right, yeah. I love that movie, too. Sean Connery is really good.
Are you okay, Leon?
Yeah.
Okay, I tried to give it to you something you could talk about this week.
No, I know. I liked Star Trek Beyond well enough. It was fun. It felt like an action Star Trek episode. Nothing ever feels like Star Trek until there's a Star Trek TV show. That's not me. I'm not trying to be a purist because I do like Star Trek movies, but the new ones. Although I did like the new one more than the other two. I still left it thinking like that was fun, but God, I really wish it felt like Star Trek.
We'll get there, Leon. We'll get there. It's going to be okay.
I know, but I realize this is me like completely nitpicking it. I did like it, but yeah, I guess I just want Star Trek to be a Star Trek thing. I want Star Trek as Star Trek.
It's coming. It's like
yeah, I know. They say so.
It's okay.
September apparently.
It's okay. It's going to be okay.
I know. I'm being a jerk right now. There's no real reason to. It was a fine movie, and I really like Chris Pine. Yeah, he's tiny. I just want to hug him like a little stuffed animal.
Leon, I have written on my notes here. Remind Leon, TV pitch, dog.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can talk about that. Okay, so look, every live action show is about people, like humans, and even the shows that are occasionally about animals are also mostly about their human owners, like Lassie.
Or, as I alluded to last week, The Littlest Hobo.
Okay.
Do you guys know The Littlest Hobo? Is that like...
Actually, super dope.
I think it's super Canadian. Is the thing. I think I'm just gonna but this is the thing, is that you grow up in a culture. Yeah. The Littlest Hobo is a Canadian television series based on a 1958 American film of the same name. So that's it spans 6 seasons, 1979 to 1985, starring an ownerless dog. He's a stray German shepherd who wanders from town to town helping people in need. So it's but it's apparently super, 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 super Canadian.
Okay.
But I didn't know that until just now.
Okay.
Anyways,
all right, so,
but it's about people. Is that he wanders from town to town, and then he meets a kid who's got a problem because she's addicted to popping bubble wrap, and then barks at a guy who's like, hey, maybe we should do something about this kid, and then I don't know, they get her hooked on smack or something.
Okay. All right. I've lost my train of thought.
Anyways, so what TV shows that are ostensibly about animals, but are actually about people.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want there to just be a show about a dog, and the dog meets other animals and occasionally humans, but mostly other animals in every episode, and it wraps up nicely at the end.
Now, are we talking anthropomorphized dogs?
No.
So not like
there's
not like the Look Who's Talking of.
There's no. That's what I'm trying to say. There's literally no gimmick to the show. They don't talk. The animals are not like. They're not super geniuses. They don't secretly speak when humans aren't around, and it's not animated. There's just a dog, and the dog, like in one episode, meets a cat in an alley, and the cat is has lost its parents, and it's going to like starve to death. But the dog finds ways to take care of the cat, and at the end of the episode, the mama cat finds the kitten, and then the dog is like, "Oh, well, this had to happen, but." I'm sad now. And then the episode ends. And every episode is like that. And sometimes humans meet the dog, and they're not nice to the dog, but the dog forgives them. Because he's a good dog. And the show would be called Good Dog.
I have good news for you, Leon. It's called documentaries about animals.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Oh.
That's what I'm trying to say. I know there's a lot of shows that are just on Animal Planet that are about animals. That's not what I'm trying to put together here. I want there to be a show like this. I think a lot of people would watch it, and I also think a lot of other people would watch it ironically.
High production values, like...
Yeah. It doesn't have to be big... No, that's the thing. It doesn't even have to be big budget, because I feel like that would be a selling point. You just hire a dog.
Yeah, dogs, weirdly enough, have a very low cost of living.
Yeah.
Scritches
so
are pretty, like, I believe, union authorized. You need some behind the ears scritches, and naps, and also I think pats.
I was thinking about jumping in and trying to save you, but I also wanted to see where you were going with it, so that worked out well for everybody.
Okay. Yeah, that is it. I feel like the show should be called Good Dog, and it would be about a good dog. And that would be the show.
I think Animal Planet would actually probably pick that up for at least one season to see how it goes. It would just be like basically giving the dogs in their dog shows a little bit more purpose, right? Instead of just watching them do whatever. Like, there's literally a show called Too Cute. We've talked about this before, I imagine, where they just, like, film baby animals, and they're just like, "Aw, look at them." So it'd just be that, but there'd be a guy off screen being like, go over there, do the thing.
Yeah, it'd be great to have something like that with, like, an illegitimate puppy storyline.
All puppies are legitimate, but go on.
No, wow. Not through, a legally...
Marriage? What is that?
This is the future liberals one. Okay, yeah.
Look, all I'm saying is that we should let dogs get married if they want to get married.
Oh yeah, I agree. This show is the thing. I did other stuff this week. You guys want to talk about that, or did you have some stuff?
I have, nothing this week.
And that's okay. We still love you, Johnny. Everyone does. There's, every day I wake up and I see that people are talking about Johnny in my various social media feeds.
Really?
Yeah, there's a thread right now on the forum just like, has Johnny ever convinced you to buy something? Did you see that?
What?
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, everyone's, really into your whole style and your whole scene.
Aw, thanks, guys.
Johnny's pretty good.
That makes me feel a warmth of value that is kind of lacking in my life right now. So I appreciate that.
We also have some Johnny-themed questions coming up later.
Uh-oh. Let me prep.
Yeah. Okay, so another movie I saw, I finally had time to watch movies because I just took my finals.
Okay.
How'd that go?
Yeah, how'd you do?
I don't know. The grades haven't come in yet.
Well, I mean, I trust your judgment.
Oh.
Do you have a feeling?
If you say you aced it, if you say you killed it, I'm like, call the cops. Don't call the cops.
I don't know, at a certain point, this conversation is going to just evolve into kind of bragging because I have a pretty good class rank right now, so I'm decently.
And I
think.
I had this vague notion here that you guys are bell curved. Is that right?
There's a law school has a crazy curve. I mentioned it before a little bit, but it's not. Even if everyone gets the answers right, it's who gets them more right. You can answer a question correctly and get dead last. Like it's a whole thing.
Right.
It's all comparative.
So you are strategically poised in this curve, so as not to make a target out of yourself, because Austin's too fucking smart for that shit.
See, here's the thing. I didn't know about this, but apparently there's a big deal in this thing of being in the top 20%. That's what everyone wants. Because I guess that's like the cutoff for like the big money firms. Like that's I guess you hear people bragging like, I was top of my class at Harvard. At least that's what I hear in like movies. But I didn't realize like 20 is the important percentage.
Right.
And after the first semester, I was like 24th percent.
Right.
So.
Right.
Almost to big money town, which I'm not actually super interested in. But
yeah, that's not your goal. Incidentally, I tweeted. I sent you a message earlier this week because I watched the HBO Vice TV show, and they did a segment last weekend on the public defender systems in some of the most like heavily weighed down states in America that have like, you know, ridiculously high crime rates, but also are like some of the worst funded. And
it's super whack. You have to do like a new case every 30 seconds. You lose them all. You don't get paid anything. Everyone hates you.
I was watching this and I was legitimately worried for your future. I was like, oh no. Well, that was frightening. That is like
it can't be any worse than video game journalism.
That is fair. Yeah. All right. Good point.
I completely lost the train of this. Oh yeah, I watched Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight. I guess that kind of ties in. It's also about criminals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How did you find that?
So it's weird because in 2014 is when this film came out, and that was around the time where it was like Tarantino was one of my favorite directors, and the idea that I would wait 3 years to see his latest film is kind of inconceivable at the time, and I just didn't get around to it. And now I did, and I'm not... How do I put this? I didn't have any fun.
But it's not a very fun movie.
It's true, but he's made other movies which are like kind of like it's not like Inglourious Bastard. I was gonna say
Inglourious Bastards has fun moments in it.
It does. It's hard to pinpoint, right? Because it's not just darkness.
It's subversive.
People get shot in all his movies. People get like tortured and raped in his movies. It's not like new, but there's something about Hateful Eight in particular, which seemed like unfun.
Yeah, the movie is mean spirited.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess that is how I would put it. I won't claim I did like it, but there were absolutely moments where I was like, even for a Tarantino movie, this seems like vile, but not in like a ew, there's blood, but like reveling in it in a weird way. Yeah,
like Pulp Fiction, there's like a rape, and it's like that's like super dark and bad and fucked up. I've seen that movie like a dozen times. It's one of my favorite movies. I love it. And in Hateful Eight, a rape is alluded to, and it like I was like, I don't know if this is tonally weird. I don't know if I would have kept this in here. It's just I understand why they did it. It's just it's hard to get my brain around the tone change, because there's an argument like, oh, Tarantino's always been this. Why are you surprised now? But it feels like something has changed. I don't know if it's just like the extended period of success, or if it's like, I think Hateful Eight's script was leaked a long time ago and he just got bitter about it. There just seems to be some kind of something under the surface of just like contempt that. Well, I wouldn't want to rewatch this movie, I think, is like the actual conclusion I'm building to. Is I've seen it once and never again. But I've seen Reservoir Dogs a dozen times. Whatever, it's great.
A lot of the difference, the thing you're talking about, is just how things are framed. Like in Pulp Fiction, for example, when Marcellus Wallace is being raped, there's no humor in it, obviously. It's just really, really awful that this is happening, and someone is coming up from behind with a samurai sword, and you're really cheering for the guy with the samurai sword to make this stop, please stop. Whereas in the Hateful Eight, someone is. I mean, spoilers, I guess, but someone is more or less forced to suck another man's dick, which is, in the same ballpark. And there's a kind of like smirkiness to it, though, that was not present in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, there's deliberate ambiguity of whether or not it even happened, right? It's only alluded to, which you'd think would soften it for me, but I don't know, it just doesn't.
I wonder if Tarantino's attitude toward the movie changed after the script got leaked online.
Yeah, that's kind of my meta thought. I don't know if that has any actual evidence though.
Because there was a period of time where like he had basically said, "Fuck it, I'm not going to make this movie now." Like, he was so enraged that somebody decided to just like publish that shit on the internet that he was like, "Why do you need me to make the movie now? You have access to the material." So here's the thing is that I don't know how much of that movie got maybe rewritten or adjusted or what have you. I didn't read the leaked script because I'm not a douchebag.
Yeah. And also, it's just like half the fun of Tarantino is what he brings to it, not necessarily the words on the page. So
yeah, there's a weightiness to the context as opposed to just like the raw material itself. So I don't know. I mean, it's possible that his attitude towards the film may have changed some between like writing it the first time and it finally coming to fruition.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got. But I'm also, listen, I'll go to bat for Death Proof. Like, I think that movie rules. I realize that's not a popular opinion, but like...
It really isn't.
I love that movie.
It is the right opinion. It is absolutely the correct opinion to have, but not a popular one.
Yeah. So, I consider myself...
Leon making his...
That's fine. I consider myself like a Tarantino fan to the point where I would even defend his bad movies. And this one I just can't get behind for some reason. And it kind of bummed me out because I really wanted to like it and I want to like his artistic output. But I feel like, first of all, this might have been better as like a stage play. It definitely feels like you just start it in the haberdashery or whatever, and it's just like a door slammer of people going out into the storm and coming back and yelling.
It had a very Das Boat feel to it.
You need to stop that now.
But like there's like a long extended shot the movie opens up on that feels like artsy for art's sake, and then there's like the whole part before that and then the flashback, like all of that I think could have been cut, frankly, and it could have been tightened up into just a bottle episode inside that building. Although, I guess that would lose my favorite part of the movie, which is just when they play the White Stripes, just a whole song for no reason at the beginning, which is pretty good.
I liked it. I quite liked Hateful Eight, but it is very, very different.
Would you rewatch it?
I probably would, but like, for non-rewatchable amazing movies for me, you have to get to like Dancer in the Dark, Requiem for a Dream kind of territory, where I'm like, wow, that was a powerful and important movie that I hope I never have to see again.
Yeah.
I think I might rewatch The Hateful Eight, but I would probably let it rest a while. It's not something that I would like. There are movies that like, on those days where you're just vegging out in front of the television or something like that. I guess this is less common than it used to be because entertainment is more personable these days, or than it ever used to be. But it used to be that like you would just flip around on the television. I don't know if people still do. I don't.
Not my neck of the woods.
But I will be flipping around the TV and come across a movie that's just like, I don't know, on the science fiction channel, on the horror channel, or, fucking whatever, any shit like that. And I will watch that movie for like 45 minutes before I realize that I actually own a copy of it, and I could probably be watching it instead of the one that has commercial breaks.
Yeah. Just
because it's like, oh shit, fucking like, The Prestige is on, or something like that,
Yeah.
So it's not one of those movies. Like if I flipped a channel and The Hateful Eight was on, the ass kicker station, or the begrudging amounts of racism channel, I would probably flip past it. But I could see in like 5 years sitting down and and re-absorbing the movie, seeing it again. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's just my last thought on this before I move away is that there's clearly some content in there worth digging into, things like race and like misogyny, and there's a lot of like super inflammatory stuff that clearly is it's begging to be like written about, and like long think pieces about like.
Yeah, I found I really enjoyed the concept of alliances.
But where I'm going with this is like it never really pays off. Like, who cares what it says about women because they just punch her in the face for 2 hours?
Yeah.
But like, who cares what it says about race? The racists are bad, and they draw a line representing like the Mason-Dixon line, and then never talk about it again. Mm-hmm. So it's this weird thing where it's like, oh, he's going there, but hold on, he has a point. Oh wait, no, he doesn't. I don't know. I gave him a lot of like rope, and then I felt like at some point he just discarded it. But that's me projecting onto the film. I have other things, but once again, Leon, are you back? Are you with us?
I'm here the whole time. I just don't always have a lot to say.
This is a more pensive episode than we usually do, it seems to be.
Thoughtful.
Okay.
I feel like we don't talk about pop music on here. We barely talk about music, frankly. But we especially don't talk about pop music. Can I just say, I actually do like Rihanna. I don't know if our audience does or would approve of me saying that. I think she's actually pretty good, even though
she has an absolutely beautiful singing voice. I can say that.
And she does have her like vocal gimmick thing that she started with Umbrella. That's in all of her songs, and it's whatever. People have tics, but I think her best stuff is like the less popular. That's a hipster thing to say. I apologize, but like
Austin getting hipster on the podcast.
Yeah,
I like the deep cut Rihanna.
Yeah,
stuff.
I accidentally walked into that. Sorry, but that's just like I come on here and I say like I like really cool bands. Like I like Modest Mouse and Radiohead and Arcade Fire, but like. I just listened to the new Lorde album. It's pretty good. Like, I like stuff.
She's alright.
Good. I listen to things normal people do.
If David Bowie was a big fan, like, nobody can spit garbage your way about, like, you like Lorde?
She's talented. All right.
I'm sure Rihanna is very talented. She's probably not super popular for no reason. I can't remember. I don't know any of her songs, but that is not anything about Rihanna. That's about me. I just don't. I don't follow music that well. I did listen to a song today that I liked, and I was like really into it. So then I looked at like her other singles, and they were all not for me at all.
So was it like when you say you heard a song that you really liked, it was one of Rihanna's songs?
No, I heard a song.
Okay.
Just which is rare for me to like a song, and I listened to it a few times. I'm like, I really like this, and then I listened to a lot of her other songs, and I'm like, oh,
what song was it? Who
I can't remember what it was called. It was by Elle King. I like her one song that sounds like a rock song, and then I listened to a lot of her other singles, and they don't sound like rock songs.
I don't know.
Maybe I haven't. That's fine. And so I was like, oh. That was disappointing, but everything is.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
ELLE? Isn't that Ellie King? You mean Rob Schneider's daughter?
I could absolutely be wrong about the pronunciation. Like I said, I just heard it on the radio and then looked it up on my phone and then listened to it on a YouTube channel, and I was like, oh, I like that song.
I'm 99% sure you're talking about Rob Schneider's daughter. Because she has one rock song.
I have no idea about her origins, Austin.
Are the rest of the songs you listened to and didn't like country?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I just listened to the rest of them. I'm like, oh no, you had one rock song, and the rest of it sounds like country music.
Yeah.
Why did you do that to me?
She has
You
one.
made me-
She has one rock song. It's called X's and
Yeah.
O's, and she.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool song, and I liked it, and I liked the sound of her voice, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is really, oh, cool. Maybe you're like a Joan Jett type. And then I looked up all her other stuff, and then it was like, oh, you're why did you do that one thing that was good and then not?
They call
Again, I
it, they
feel
call
like
it
I'm
the
being
bait
very,
and switch.
yeah, I feel like I'm being very critical of people who are very popular and talented. And I am sorry.
And
I'm-
there's nothing
I'm
wrong
gonna-
with being Rob Schneider's daughter. I just find it hilarious. Like I'm sure she can be a perfectly nice person. Just
My
the
heart
idea that
goes
the idea that Rob Schneider has fucked is hilarious.
My heart
gets
goes
all-
out to you, Ellie King. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine having sex with Rob Schneider?
I really can. Why is it pronounced Ellie? That is L. Like
Okay,
that's like
I just thought it was. Listen, I'm picturing Rob Schneider's O face right now, and it's killing me.
why did you do that? Why did you do that to yourself?
Austin, Rob Schneider has made so many faces. And
know.
let's be clear, most of them horrible.
And some of them racist.
We have most assuredly seen his O face in there somewhere.
Oh god, I'm gonna be sick. oh fuck.
Oh wait, I did encounter a band that I like, and I liked most of their songs on the album. That happened like a week ago. I can't remember the name of the band, so I'm gonna look it up real quick and then mispronounce it because that's what I do.
Oh, that ties in perfectly, because remember at the beginning of the episode I said I was going to mispronounce a bunch of stuff so we get corrected. So I pronounced that name wrong on purpose. It's fine.
Oh, you were being a dick. Okay.
Yeah. Got ya.
Okay.
Busted.
I do like a band now, and I'm gonna say the name wrong, but it's called Uberhofer. And if I mispronounce that was by accident. Like I'm sorry. I listened to their album on Spotify, and I liked pretty much all of it. So they're like the anti-El King. They're all their songs are like of a consistent sound, and they're pretty good. Oh well. That's the most I can talk about music for the year, guys. I'm sorry. That's probably all I got.
Used it all up.
Good, Leon. You
All
did
right.
good.
So I saw another movie, and I have lost stuff, but we're running out of time. Which one do you guys want?
It depends on the movie.
Yeah. Give me the title, and then I'll decide there.
Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was good.
Yeah. Do you have
Yeah.
strong feelings about the Studio Leica, who made it? Because Paranorman was amazing, and Coraline was also amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both great
Yeah.
movies.
I'm a fan of the studio. I did like Kubo with the Two Strings. I cried a little
Aw.
at the part where you're supposed to cry. And yeah, that's it. I feel like I actually talked about this on the show before, so I don't mean to like steal your thunder or anything.
No,
but I feel I've said the things that I wanted to say. You can totally talk about it though. There's no reason not to.
It's just
good.
real quick, because if you did talk about it before, I probably blanked out because I didn't want to know any spoilers. But it's funny, because the thing I've taken away from this movie, and if you ask me in like 30 years what I thought of Kubo and the Two Strings, the only thing I will remember about it is that it has the two most obvious plot twists in film history. They're essentially the same one. They just string them out a little bit away from each other. And like, the movie is fucking gorgeous, and it is sad, and there's a lot of things great about it, but I couldn't focus on enjoying it because those plot twists are so obvious, and I was sitting there just screaming like, "You idiot! Just pay attention! Look! Just fucking think for 1 second. It's the same voice actress. How are you not getting this?" I was just like so upset with the boy for not figuring it out.
You and I watch movie. I feel like you and I watch movies differently, Austin, which is fine. We've actually this is like part 2 of our Frozen talk from last week. Like when I watch a movie as work, like I'm looking into it very closely and I'm taking notes and all kinds of other stuff. It's like, it's a whole ordeal. When I watch movies for fun. Although I am thinking about it, of course. I'm not a turn your brain off kind of guy. I'm not really... How do I put this? I'm not looking for plot twists. I'm just kind of like letting the movie wash over me. So, like, eventually it was like, wait a minute. Yeah, that sort of did, like, appear, like in my head eventually. But I didn't find it particularly obvious. I just, was kind of enjoying the world.
It's a great world too. For those who don't know, it's like a Japanese mythology inspired movie about like, a kid who goes on a journey and learns about himself and then defeats a bad guy. So it's like classic kind of like, what if Mulan actually cared about stuff outside of the princess tropes? If you think of it in any kind of comparative terms. But it's a great movie on its own merits that I couldn't focus on, that I couldn't properly get enraptured in its majesty because I was being very me. Just being a total asshole about the whole thing. At the end, during the credits, they show did I even mention it's stop motion? It's a stop motion film, by the way. And at the end, they show one of the puppets, and it's enormous. Guys, where'd you go?
I'm still here. I just thought there was going to be more to that.
I apologize. I didn't realize that was you throwing the ball back. I apologize.
Yeah, I was just trying to. I'm just trying to say that it's good, but I couldn't enjoy it. It's the end of story.
Oh, that's a shame. Okay.
I have more. I feel like every time I stop talking, I have to like fill the immediate silence because of who I am as a person.
Do you have a fear of silence, Austin?
I have a fear of being boring, I think.
Oh,
at least on broadcast. In real life, I don't give a fuck.
We enjoy your company, Austin, even if you're not loud.
It's true.
Gotta be
keep
loud.
Coming back.
Yeah.
Sometimes all you have to do is just be loud, and people will just enjoy the spectacle. I like to take inspiration from my hero, Rob Schneider. All right, so we guys want to do questions, or I can do a quick law thing real quick. Nobody wants to take responsibility. No one wants to be the one who steps up and is wrong.
I feel like for the past few weeks we've rushed questions. We've rushed through questions. Like, we've hit this like last 10-minute kind of thing. We're like, oh god, we should do some questions. So I mean, unless it's a good law thing. Is it a good law thing? Come on, Austin. Talk to your boy.
It's kind of infuriating. It's kind of infuriating. That's hard to say.
Okay,
is it about a big power oppressing someone who shouldn't have been?
No,
like all of them.
Well, kind of.
I don't mean that in a bad way. Like it's getting predictable. I mean that's just life.
I mean that's just law too.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just do questions. I guess
let's keep it light.
That doesn't help. All right, so I'm gonna ask a question here. Nate Snitko asks, "What should I make with my new immersion circulator?"
Oh Jesus,
Nate!
I'm gonna go check my email.
All right, bye. Nate. The world of immersion circulators are a fantastic and amazing thing. My favorite stuff to do in the immersion circulator is LAM. I really like to do LAM because you can set it, like LAM is really, 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 really easy to dry out and get like super gamey and rough. But the immersion circulator avoids that. So LAM, fantastic. Love it. Great. Pork too, because pork is really easy to dry out. Pork's fantastic. My favorite pork to do is pulled pork. Get yourself a bottle of liquid smoke. Because then what you can do is when you season like a pork shoulder or something like that, and you can brush it down with liquid smoke, and it comes out the other end just like brilliantly. Like I guess the not so big secret of immersion circulators is that they are genius with cheap cuts of meat. So, like, short ribs and, like, stewing meats and things like that, just, like, don't feel like you need to buy a primo cut in order to make this thing shine. It's just the opposite. Like, it will bring out character in anything. But yeah, my favorites are pork and lamb. Pulled pork brushed down with, like, liquid smoke, get some fucking cardamom, paprika, salt and pepper, a little bit of mustard powder, like, and then like an apple cider vinegar South Carolina style barbecue sauce to go with that. Tacos for days!
I could just listen to Johnny make yummy noises for like an hour.
So good. Those are my favorite things. Shout outs also to beef short ribs. Beef short ribs are very good. No, I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Beef short ribs are also very good.
Like I said, we have a lot of Johnny questions this week. Flintlock Pixel asks, does Johnny like Billy Talent? He gives me the impression he would like them, but would never admit it. Is this a correct assumption?
No, they don't. Billy Talent doesn't get to me. I don't dislike them. I don't like them. They are like, I don't know.
So I only know this band because
they're like Miracle Whip. I'd rather have mayonnaise, but whatever.
I only know Billy Talent because their songs are used in the NHL games. They're on the soundtrack there. So I was like, is this Green Day? What the? Oh no, I guess it's some weird Canadian band I've never heard of.
That's them.
Okay, is that the impression I get? Is they're a Green Day alike? Is that accurate? You would say?
As far as I could, tell, I'm not super deep into Billy Talent lore.
Okay.
Unless
I'm sure there's like some kind of secret thing that we're missing here.
Okay, no, different guy. Sorry.
Okay.
There's in like the late 90s, early 2000s, there was this like big rush of Canadian like Green Day alikes, like Billy Talent. There's another band called Alexis on Fire that's got a guy named Dallas Green who records his own stuff under the moniker City in Color, and I really like Dallas Green's stuff, but I couldn't remember if he was a member of Billy Talent or Alexis on Fire, and it turns out Alexis on Fire. So
I bet naming your band Billy Talent was hell on their SEO for a while, because I'm sure Google thought they meant Billy Idol, which I think is the joke, but if I was a record label, I probably would have been like, I don't know if we should do that, guys. Probably
not a concern back when they formed.
Wow, pre-internet SEO stuff. Weird. Kids today, they don't remember those times.
I know. Back in the dark ages of the early 90s.
Someday we're gonna have like the talk with kids, which is about their brand. We're gonna have to sit little Billy down and be like, "You gotta remember your brand, Billy." Athos asks, would we survive an alien attack if Independence Day happened to us in the current day and age? This is a very 4th of July question.
No.
I would think that No, I mean, I'm sorry, but if I can go through the plot of Independence Day, like, super quickly, their technology is far superior to ours, and if this were happening in the real world, the fake technology that we used to win does not exist, so then we would lose. That's it. I mean, I could go on and on about, like, the state of the world today and our lack of cooperation and stuff like that, but no, it literally would be impossible.
Look, if the aliens don't kill us, the people in charge will.
I feel like I have a problem with the basic assumptions you're making, Leon, because you say the technology we use to win doesn't exist, but Randy Quaid does exist.
It's true. I've seen
it. First of all, he barely exists now.
I'm not saying it'd be hard. I mean, it would be hard to weaponize Randy Quaid. I agree.
I'm sorry. Like if I can just be pedantic for a moment, and more than a moment, really. The only reason Randy Quaid was able to get through the shield was because of the fake virus that doesn't exist that took down the shield. So no,
look, Leon,
I've seen that movie a lot of times.
We've already established, okay, that the aliens run their OS. They run Windows XP.
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay, and Microsoft isn't supporting that anymore. There's like so many security backdoors. That's what all these ransomware attacks are about right now, so...
Yeah, our hackers are actually better than back in those days. I think we get through easy. And we just drop the Randy Quaid bomb in there. Actually, sorry, Randy Quad is how I'm referring to him this episode.
Randy Quado?
Now there's a Photoshop waiting to happen. Hold on, let me just Google to see if Randy Quado is if somebody else has thought of this gem.
See, that's a really weird one too, because Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in Total Recall is named Quaid. Ooh.
No, I searched Randy Quado and it doesn't look like anyone else has done it.
Tying it up.
All right, so next question.
Quaid, start the reactor.
Cosmignon, the Ink Master General, wants to know, do you guys think it's weird that movie trailers are starting to use Rotten Tomato ratings as a selling point? I haven't seen this. Is this real?
I don't have any like strong memories of that, but that's just because I don't watch too many trailers. I ran out of the theater when the Blade Runner sequel trailer started playing before a movie I saw recently, because I as soon as like an image that looked familiar came on the screen and I knew immediately that this was Blade Runner, I said nope. And I stood up and I closed my ears and I ran out of the theater for about 3 minutes and then came back when it was safe.
Oh my God, you're serious? I thought you were joking at first.
No, I'm not fucking. No, I'm not gonna. Because I can't just sit there and close my ears, because I tried that once and the sound was so loud that I could still hear everything. So that's not acceptable to me. I don't like watching trailers. They tell me way too much about what's going to happen. Like, that's like an old complaint, and I know, but it's nonetheless true. But I'm sorry. Going back to the question, is it weird that no, it's not weird, because that has always been a trailer thing before Rotten Tomatoes, like showing like, you know, such and such said it was fantastic, and such said 5 stars. They're just simplifying it in the same way that Rotten Tomatoes simplifies it.
Yeah. The new Rotten Tomatoes panic that seems to have suddenly seized Hollywood is like the same as the Metacritic thing, and then before that, I guess, like, I don't know, Ebert and Roper or fucking something like that. Like, critics have always been like both leveraged and feared. So I don't know how new any of that is necessarily. Although it's sad that people are getting mad at an aggregation site that's just like, here are the reviews. It's not like Rotten Tomatoes writes them.
Yeah. That's sort of been this thing. People keep saying directors who get bad Rotten Tomato scores, which really just means bad reviews that have always existed, have been saying, you know, they keep trying to say things like, well, I didn't make it for the critics, I made it for the fans. And while that is technically true, you because the fans will be buying more tickets than the critics, that doesn't really defend the movie. And you know, I mean, I okay, that's fine. Then I make my episodes not for the directors. Like, so what? Like, who cares?
I don't do my podcasts for the critics or the fans. I do them for the dogs.
Yeah,
They're good boys.
You gotta play it while you leave them home, so they have something to hear.
Yep.
So, I mean, there are times, though, to be fair, where critics totally miss the boat on a movie. I feel the thing that sticks out in my mind is the Pokemon the first movie, and I realize now I'm 100% just biting the style of a Cool Games Inc. bit they did, where they read Roger Ebert's review of Pokemon the first movie, in which he just got like every basic fact about it wrong, and it's like, yeah, I think this one was for the fans and not for the critics, frankly. But for the most part, yeah, that's just like, if you're scared of Rotten Tomatoes, make a better movie. Right?
Good advice.
Is that too oversimplifying?
I mean, it is, but that's okay. I mean, the fact is, like, I'm sort of like a believer in, this isn't meant to be cynical. This is just, you know, this has been my experience.
It just is cynical.
No, what I'm trying to say is, like, I love movies, but most movies are bad, or mediocre at the very least. So when people say, like, make better movies, I'm like, yeah, of course, but it's hard. Even if you go in with like good intentions and you don't have a lot of like studio types yelling in your ear and saying, don't do this and make that more marketable to China, and, you know, and all of that stuff, that, you know, even with like the best of intentions and with like great talent, sometimes movies are just bad because it's so hard, because there's hundreds of, really thousands of people who work on them, and everyone has to bring their A game or it's just kind of gonna suck. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's why. Okay, I'll trail off here. I'm sorry.
Can we just like cut the bullshit and be like Michael Bay?
What?
Well, I mean,
We're talking around him.
we're talking around Michael Bay, aren't we?
No. That's just that. I'm actually not just talking about Michael Bay. Although I definitely am talking about Michael Bay. I'm also talking about all of the Bay likes. You know, but no, that's just it. Like even good directors make shitty movies sometimes. Even good writers write bad stories. Even I don't know.
But do audiences even like the latter Transformers movies? Like the idea that I made it for fans, not for audiences. I don't think fans of Transformers like those movies.
I always love it. I love it when movie commercials are like, "Come see the highest grossing," and I'm like, that just means a lot of people paid to see your shit. Like that, you know. They could have walked out the other end feeling cheated, but
that's the appeal to like popularity and the fear of missing out. If all your friends saw it, you should see it too, and that works on some people. Like, let's just be real about human psychology. A lot of people don't want to be the only one who didn't see the thing.
Yeah, and you know, I actually just like, I guess a side note, my favorite variant of that is when a movie is like actually the number 4 movie in America, so they change around the wording a little. So it's like the number 1 family comedy in America. I'm like, that just means it bombed.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
You almost did it. Jingle all the way.
All right, so
yeah.
A new question. Cyretha asks, "What's the new opening and closing music for Word Funk called? Why did you pick it?"
Oh, that is, I've been wanting to change the music since about episode 150, because I just felt like, you know, it's time for a change. And then I just kept forgetting to do it. And then like, episode 160 or so happened. And, I was like, I should pick a song I like. And I like that one song, Sea of Dreams, by that band I just mentioned, earlier in the show. So I will just make that, you know, that whistling part of the song the opening, and then the big raucous, you know, climax of the song the ending part, and that was it. I had a little audio problems with it at first, but now it's normal. So yeah.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah, we had some technical issues in recording this, so we're a little low on time now. Do you guys want to do like 1 or 2 more?
Sure.
We can do another one.
Okay. Well, here's a short one, because I haven't seen this film. Davis Friedley asks, "What did you think of Baby Driver?"
Haven't seen it yet.
I liked it. It was... Okay.
Uh-oh.
So...
I mean, it's...
Okay.
This suddenly went from a quick question to a not-so-quick question.
I'm an Edgar Wright stan, so I'm gonna see it, but I've only heard good things, so this is interesting.
It is a good movie. It is directed very, very well. I was into it at the time I was watching it. The music is fun. The action scenes are very good. I noticed this while it was happening, but sometimes I think, like, you know, maybe I'm just being like, you know, an overly sensitive, like, you know, when I watch my movies, so maybe this is all in my head. But the woman I watched the movie with basically said what I noticed, but was like trying to like ignore, and that is the only 2 like women characters in the movie were they are expressly written to be motivators for men, which is. You know, like no movie can be perfect in like social reasons, I guess. But I feel like that could be something you didn't have to like double down on in this movie. Like I'll explain. Baby, he's the main character, and what motivates him is that he meets a girl and he wants to protect the girl, and the girl is really ready to give up her life to be with Baby, and we know almost nothing about her. Like, there is almost zero characterization. And it's like, okay, well, that you did one of those a movie, so that, you know, everyone gets one. But the other woman character is created to die and motivate the other character to try to kill Baby. So I was like, look, like I said, you know, there's always going to be like the one thing that you kind of like, maybe you shouldn't have done that, but you did it twice in the same movie, and it's like, I don't know. Edgar Wright's movies, they don't have a lot of like strong female characters in them. Some filmmakers should think about that when they make their movies. Overall, I did like it. Like it is a good action movie, but it's also like, why is that still a thing?
Did Edgar Wright write it as well? I guess I could have just Googled that while you were talking.
Yeah, he typically writes and directs his movies.
Okay, I love him.
He's that guy.
I hope.
He makes good movies. I don't claim otherwise. But his everyone has like habits that you wish they wouldn't have. How I love the Coen brothers and Wes Anderson movies, and they're like the least diverse movies that are made.
Yeah.
And when confronted with this recently, Wes Anderson, his next movie is the opposite of that. It is a diverse film.
Oh, sweet.
So like neat. It's mostly gonna have like Asian actors in it. So cool. When confronted with this, the Coen brothers dismissed it.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing. But like I said, like they're not. Look, I can accept. I can have problematic faves so long as they're not like shit faves. Like I could if the Coen brothers like almost refuse to consider the fact that maybe they should cast with some thoughtfulness, I can still watch their movies and enjoy them. If they were like monsters, I would not.
Yeah.
But they just they're like anyone else. They just have a few bad opinions on things. I have mine.
This is the bad opinion show, frankly.
Yeah.
We have spares.
On that. Yeah, I don't want to feel like I'm trashing the movie completely. It was good, but that is a thing about it that people are also talking about, and it's not something to be dismissed just because the movie was good in other ways. And that's it. That's what I want to say about that. Feel free to like be shitty about it to me in the comments.
I will. I'm gonna get in there.
I made like I have this like urge every once in a while to like tell you stories about such commenters, but I've decided recently that I'm gonna stop dunking on specific commenters, especially on social media, not whether they deserve it or not, because it's I don't know if it's in good taste, but it's not helpful to me, as it turns out, and probably not helpful to my audience. So the whole like dunking on the dumbest commenter of the day thing is done.
Yeah, I don't know how to navigate that. I've never had that much power and responsibility as you, Leon. Who knows? It might make me a madman.
Your audience, because of Dice Funk, is like so specific that there's like no room for too many like shitty people. My audience is also a niche audience, but I also like get blowback from like regular movie fans who click on my thing and think, oh, this is a movie review.
You don't accidentally wander into a gay role-playing D&D podcast.
Right, that's what I mean. You have a very specific... I mean, both of our audiences in a lot of ways are niche, but yours are like a very specific kind of good, whereas I also get like the anti-fans of the things that I am proposing. Whereas I don't feel like anyone who like hates gay people will really sit through hours upon hours of Dice Funk in order to say like, why there's so many gay people in this episode. That's a kind of commitment that I don't really feel like shitty people have. But someone will sit through like 10 minutes of my episode to call me a cuck.
I mean, I don't have to even watch it for that. I just get it right in those comments.
That is a thing.
Yeah. Okay, so last question as we run out of time here. Jessica Sims asks, law question, is riding a horse while drunk DUI, animal endangerment, or both? Now, traffic laws are a state issue. So that's why you see like state highway patrol and stuff. So each state has its own laws, but to my knowledge, in every jurisdiction in which they would consider that question, like one where people had ridden horses, I think it is a DUI. I think it's like the laws are often worded like intoxicated while driving a motor vehicle or in transit on an animal or something. So the boring answer is it depends. The more fun answer is probably it's a DUI. It theoretically could be animal endangerment, but it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to get someone to like the cop would have to be like specifically motivated because he's an animal lover or something. Those charges usually don't stick.
Hold on here.
Yeah.
What if the horse is drunk?
Oh gosh, now that's not good.
But you're not.
They put him in horse jail. No, so here's the sad thing about like animal law, and I haven't taken an animal law class, although they do offer it, and I saw that on the and like the system for signing up for classes, and I was like, hell yeah, I want to learn about animal law. But it's my understanding from watching like documentaries and stuff that it's actually kind of hard to prosecute people for animal like endangerment because they can't like testify, right? So it has to be real obvious. Like they have to be living in like terrifying torture conditions for people to be properly motivated because like animals don't pay taxes. They don't have like
get a job, animals.
They don't have lobbyists. Like it's kind of hard to get that kind of stuff through. But if you're riding a horse and the horse is drunk and a cop stops you, you might get taken down for some kind of animal crime. But I wouldn't say it's a sure thing. And once again, the boring answer is it depends. Florida, I'm almost certain you can't do that because I know it's a crime in Florida to eat horse. Or it was.
Oh.
We have to have talked about this before, right? Because that's like the first weird law thing I knew.
Yeah, because like
is that a health
how
thing?
How could we possibly do a podcast without it coming up about whether or not it's legal to eat horse?
Is that a health thing, or was there like problems with horse slaughterers who weren't doing it humanely, and this was just a way to curtail that, or what?
I'm trying to remember because this is giving me mad deja vu about talking about this before. I'm going to Google it now.
Okay, we can do that. While you're Googling it, I just want to say congratulations to Kenny Omega for becoming the NJPW United States Champion. That is my other wrestling thing I wanted to say, and that's it.
No, because
congratulations, Kenny.
I remember this conversation because I Googled this, and this same story came up. There's a Vice story called "Illegal Horse Butchers Are Running Wild Across Florida."
Okay,
I was right.
Remember that.
We've talked about this. I don't know the origin of this law, but it's apparently a problem in Florida. Leave horses alone, everyone.
Yeah, you can ride them. Why would you even want to eat them? They're so much more useful alive. I mean, they can't even taste that good. Like it just seems really impractical.
If you really want, but I wouldn't recommend it.
It just seems like really impractical to kill a horse and slaughter it and feed it to people when there are so many other animals that are like legal to kill. I don't understand like the motivation. I'm sure there's a reason and not just because it's fun for some like horse sadist.
No, but, I'm looking it up and it looks like because, I mean, a lot of people in the world eat horse. That's not rare, but specifically this seems to be happening in South Florida because of the demand by Cuban immigrants who eat horse.
Oh. Okay. Like, so it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, I think apparently it's just it's more like traditional there.
Got it.
I didn't do a deep dive. This is just me literally Googling while we're talking, but it seems like these horse slaughterers are in South Florida specifically, which I assume most of our listeners know, but if not, it's South Florida is kind of North Cuba, depending on the neighborhood. Where I grew up, nobody spoke English in my neighborhood. Okay. I guess except for us.
Yeah, I should go. God. We should leave immediately. I just want to say one more thing and then I'll go. I saw someone's Twitter profile the other day, and it said something along the lines of this: the left thinks I'm a bigot, and the right thinks I'm crazy, and then something how right that makes him. Isn't it possible you're just a great big piece of shit? That everyone across the political spectrum doesn't like you. All right? You're not a radical centrist because that's dumb. Okay? You don't know who you are. You don't listen to this show. But I just find that preposterous. I hate that line of thinking. Both sides are just as bad, so I'm a moderate. It's like you can be a moderate, but you need to like recognize that the sides of things are different. not equally bad at everything. I hate that sort of like South Park mentality that young people adopted and let fester in their minds when they became adults. That's my serious thing I wanted to say at the end of the show.
How
even though
great!
I cussed a lot.
How great would Independence Day have been when they shot the beam and destroyed the White House, and then they like broadcast everywhere in the world? It's like, you all hate me, so clearly I'm actually right.